They always say revenge is a dish best served cold. But what if I told you the most powerful revenge isn't yelling, arguing, or trying to get even? It's silence. Pure, intentional silence. Not ghosting, not playing games, but the kind of silence that comes from deep self-control, from strength, from stoicism. The kind that doesn't scream, "I'm hurt." It calmly says, "You no longer have access to my peace." And that silence, it destroyed her. Not because you wanted to hurt her, but because you finally chose to stop explaining yourself to someone who never really listened. You finally stopped dancing for approval, stopped proving your worth. You didn't beg, you didn't chase, you just walked away. Stoics knew this long before social media turned no contact into a trend. Marcus Aurelius said it best: "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." And that's what silence is. It's not petty, it's not cruel. It's rising above the noise, choosing to stay rooted in your peace while others try to pull you into chaos. In this video, we're going to break down why silence is so powerful, why it hits so hard, especially when it's coming from a place of calm confidence, and how embracing this stoic mindset will change the way you handle people who try to hurt you. So if you're tired of being pulled into drama, if you're done explaining yourself to people who don't value your presence, then keep watching. Because when you learn to master your silence, you don't just protect your energy, you become unforgettable. Stick around, this might just change how you respond forever. And if you find power in this message, make sure to subscribe to Stoic Think. We're building a space for thinkers, not reactors. Let's get into it. 2. Why silence hurts more than words. Here's the truth no one wants to admit. Most people aren't afraid of being yelled at. They're not afraid of you getting angry. They're afraid of losing your attention. Because once you go silent, once you stop reacting, stop explaining, stop justifying your emotions, they realize something brutal. They no longer have power over you. That's why your silence destroyed her. Not because you were trying to hurt her, but because you finally stopped letting her see you bleed. She expected noise. She expected you to argue, to prove your point, to beg her to understand. But instead, you gave her nothing. Not bitterness, not revenge, just nothing. And that nothing echoed louder than any words ever could. You see, the Stoics believed your peace is your greatest asset. Epictetus said, "If someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation." Translation: if they can shake your peace, they still control you. But when you go silent, calm, composed, unbothered, that's the moment you take back your power. You're no longer playing the same emotional tug of war. You've dropped the rope, and in dropping it, you force them to face themselves. No distractions, no arguments to blame, just silence. And in that silence, they hear everything they don't want to hear. The truth is, silence is uncomfortable, not for the Stoic, but for the person who once fed off your reaction. Your calmness forces them to confront their own noise, their guilt, their manipulation, their chaos. And that's why it's so effective, because your silence is proof that you've outgrown the situation. So if you're wondering whether to respond to that last message, to fire off one more paragraph explaining how you feel, pause and ask yourself, does this serve my peace or just my ego? Because sometimes the strongest move is no move at all. 3. The Stoic power behind walking away quietly. Walking away without a word doesn't mean you didn't care. It means you cared enough about yourself to stop bleeding for someone who kept cutting you. She didn't expect that. She expected drama. She expected a version of you she could still control. But what she got was distance, detachment, silence. And that silence whispered a truth she didn't want to hear. You were never the problem. She just never thought you'd have the strength to stop explaining your worth. Seneca once said, "He who does not prevent a wrong when he can is guilty." That includes the wrongs we let slide because we're afraid to lose someone. But the Stoic doesn't fear loss. He accepts it. He understands that clinging to someone who disrespects his boundaries is a slow death to the soul. So when you walked away in silence, you weren't being cold. You were setting a boundary that said, "My peace is not up for negotiation." And that kind of boundary doesn't need to be shouted. It doesn't need to be explained. It just needs to be enforced, calmly, consistently, without a show. That's what Stoicism teaches us: to lead with principle, not emotion, to detach from the noise, to protect what truly matters, your inner freedom. She may try to guilt trip you. She may call you cold, heartless, or accuse you of giving up. But deep down, she knows the truth. You didn't give up. You leveled up. You stopped reacting. You started living with intention. And nothing is more dangerous to someone who thrives on control than a person who no longer needs their validation. Silence doesn't mean weakness. It means discipline. And in the eyes of the Stoic, that's the greatest strength of all. 4. The final message: peace over pettiness. Here's what most people miss. Revenge isn't about making someone suffer. It's about showing them, without a word, that you've healed past the point of needing to hurt them back. Because true strength isn't loud. It's not explosive. It's calm, controlled, quiet, like still water that runs deep. That silence of yours, it spoke volumes. It said, "I no longer need this battle to prove who I am." And that destroyed her. Not because she wanted to see you in pain, but because she realized, too late, that you were her mirror. And now that mirror is gone. She's left with her own reflection, her own choices, her own chaos. You walked away with your dignity intact, not bitter, not broken, just better. And that's what Stoicism is really about. It's not about being emotionless. It's about knowing which emotions are worth your time. It's about choosing peace over pettiness, clarity over chaos, principle over pride. So next time someone tries to bait you into reacting, remember this: your silence is not emptiness. It's presence. It's power. It's proof that your energy is too valuable to waste on people who don't know what to do with it. Let them talk. Let them wonder. Let them feel the absence they once took for granted. You're not here to explain your growth. You're here to live it. If this message hit home, subscribe to Stoic Think and keep building that quiet strength. Because in a world that's constantly trying to pull you into noise, your silence might just be your loudest victory. Let's wrap this up. Revenge doesn't always come wrapped in fire and fury. Sometimes it's just the sound of nothing. No calls, no explanations, no second chances, just silence. And in that silence, something powerful happens. You stop trying to be understood and start choosing to understand yourself. You stop chasing closure and become it. That's the Stoic way. Not bitter, not emotional, just intentional. So the next time someone crosses a line, don't waste your breath trying to teach them a lesson. Live your lesson. Detach. Protect your peace. Let your silence speak louder than anything you could say. Because at the end of the day, Stoicism isn't about impressing others. It's about mastering yourself. Thanks for watching Stoic Think. If this message helped you find clarity, strength, or even just a little peace, hit that subscribe button. We're building a community for those who choose stillness over noise, wisdom over war. Stay grounded, stay silent, stay powerful, and I'll see you in the next one.